Welcome to the section on lists and tables. In the previous section, we covered images and links and learned how to connect web pages and add resources like images and all kinds of cool stuff. In this section, we're going to dive into lists and tables and see how to structure them properly on the web. In HTML, we have three types of lists. We have unordered lists, ordered lists, and description lists. Each has its own tag, UL for unordered lists, OL for ordered lists, and description list as DL. So let's start with the unordered lists. They begin with the UL tag, and each item inside uses an LI tag. This way we have a list item. Ordered lists work the same way, but use the OL tag instead of UL. We will see examples of both on the web shortly. For now, let's just get familiar with the tags. For description lists, we use the DL tag, but it's a bit different. We provide a description term, kind of like a title, followed by a description that explains it. Alright, now let's jump into the editor and see these lists in action. Inside the body, let's type UL. Let's create the first LI tag for the item and name it apples. Then let's create another one, say bananas. And then let's create oranges. We have the items here. Let's add a title on top of these list items. Create an h3 tag and write my favorite fruits. Beautiful. Now you can see the title and the items beneath that. So let's go ahead and inspect items inside the DevTools. You can see we have this UL tag and then we have these three LIs inside. You might notice this black circle here. That comes from this marker element inside HTML. It's a pseudo element. We're going to discuss this more later, but for now, just know that inside CSS, we can change that or even hide it. So these three items that we have here are list items that belong to the UL element. Let's change this UL to OL to make it ordered list. This way, you can see we have numbers instead of those bullets. So inside ordered list, as it says, order matters. Ordered lists support an attribute called type. And as you can see, we have a couple of options for that. For example, this capital A just indicates that instead of numbers, we can add orders with letters. And this lowercase a is just lowercase alphabet. Another attribute is a start. We can change the start from 1 to 2, for example. So let's change this back to numbers. And as you can see, it starts from 2. And if we set it back to letters, it will start from the second letter from the alphabet. Beautiful. We also have DL for description lists. Inside the DL, we should provide a DT for description term and add something that we want to describe it, in this case, HTML. After that, we're going to create a DD element to describe HTML. So we're going to say hypertext markup language. This is how it looks like on the web. Let me just go back and change the title real quick. And let's add another description term for CSS. And let's describe it as cascading style sheets. Beautiful. So now you can clearly see how it looks like in the web. It's a list that also has a description for each item. All right, it's time for a new trick in VS Code. Let's say we want to duplicate these lines. One way is to copy these lines and paste them down. But inside VS Code, there's a shortcut that we can select the lines and hit Shift-Alt down or Options-Shift down on Mac, and it will duplicate those lines down. Note that we don't have to select the whole lines. For example, I put my cursor here and I hit the combination and you can see it duplicates it down. And I can also duplicate it up. So this is a very handy shortcut to use, and I'm sure you're going to be using it a lot. As always, you can refer back to our reference website, which is freely available for all, and you can always visit it to summarize or check something real quick. All right, so let's talk about tables. So a table, as you know, has rows and columns and structures data. Inside HTML, to create a table, we should use the table tag. And table has a header element and a body element with thead and tbody. Let's focus on thead element first. To create a row, we should use a tr for table row. Then we should use th for the table header. This way, as you can see, it creates the header of the table. Then for body, again, we're going to use the tr tag to create a row, and then with the td tag for the table data, we can insert data inside a row. With this, we can create the table header and the table body. So I'm just going to remove the code from previous section. We're going to create our first table inside HTML. Type table and press enter. Now, let's create the header first. So thead, enter. Next, we're going to create the row, so tr. Time to create the header data, th. Here, I'm going to say product. I'm going to duplicate this down. Another header, price. Duplicating it down again. Remove and stock. Beautiful. With this, we have the header. So if I inspect this inside DevTools, you can see we have the tr and then these three th tags. Now I'm going to zoom out a little bit to see this better. Let's go ahead and create the body element. Okay, so tbody. Now let's create a row with tr and then td for table data. We're going to say laptop, and the price for that is going to be $1,200, and the stock is going to be something like 50. Seems like the live server has stopped. Let me just start it again. So you can see we have laptop 1250. Let's inspect this inside the DevTools. Now you can see we have this body, and then inside the T row, we have laptop, the price, and the stock. We can have another row for mouse. So let's duplicate this row down and change the laptop to mouse. Price is $25 and the stock is $700. All right, so we have the body and now we have these two rows. Beautiful. So this is the HTML table. It's not that much complicated. I highly recommend you practicing a lot. And in the next section, we're going to actually create the first project of this course series. We're going to create a menu for an imaginary cafe. So see you there.